This is the Buffalo Brotherhood podcast, or the BOBcast as we call it. This is episode 45. I'm Ryan. Alongside me as always, well, no one today. I'm all by myself. This is the podcast episode, though, for 45, where Brad and Paul come in and talk and give us tons of information about eating healthy and wellness and nutrition and exercise. It's been an absolute saving grace as we do this, as we just opened up the contest Biggest Loser in the Lodge. I myself have lost a little over 7 pounds, and I'm thrilled, and I can't wait to continue to lose more. We had a slight problem with the YouTube video while capturing the episode, though. Essentially, I did hit record, I will say that much, but I didn't have enough storage on the camcorder to record the whole episode, and it's become really problematic to try to join up whatever we did have recorded with the audio that we took, so forth. So we do have the audio. If you are listening, if you're an audio subscriber normally, you already heard the episode, but this episode is so fantastic and there's so much great information in it. We think it's really important that we put it out in all possible avenues that we have. So we want to make sure there was a YouTube version of it as well, even if it's just the audio version playing behind the great logo that Kyle Swift designed for us. So that's what you're going to get as soon as I quit talking. But since I have you here, and you're waiting, I'm gonna talk to you for just a second, because I want you to say, if you're watching the YouTube version, you could do us a huge favor by clicking the red subscribe button and then that thumbs up there at the bottom to say that you like the video. I know it's a lot to ask to scroll down about 2 inches and hit click, click a couple things, but it really does help us out, and it would help us continue to get our message out and make this the best community possible. So I won't talk anymore. I'll let you get right to the episode. This is BOBcast.
You know how long a beard second is?
BuffaloBrotherhood.wordpress.com.
We're going to get in here and we're going to mess around and we're going to get in trouble by somebody's parents.
Warning. Warskewing. Abusa. Isia. We know you're going to eat it, sir. We know.
Facebook.com/Buffalo Brotherhood is where you can find all the shows.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. That was a quick, we're down quick. This is episode 45 of the BOBcast, the Buffalo Brotherhood. Welcome to the Lodge, everyone. This is Ryan, alongside me as always.
Mike.
And almost not, but is, across
Doug.
from me is Doug. Hey,
Yes.
He just flew in. Are your arms tired?
No.
He was a jet setter this week.
Yep.
Actually, he was a jet setter last
week.
But we're recording this a week off, so I'm going to come right out and tell you guys, we're doing a little time travel tonight. Get with me. Come with me into the Wayback Machine. We're going to do a little time travel
Stargazer.
tonight. We are... Kip Pemberton has allowed us to come in and do this show a week ahead to do the week behind. So you, the listener, will have no idea. It'll come in your feed as normal. This is episode 45. But you will have listened to episode 44, which I'm sure was amazing.
It was. We
fantastic. Just haven't recorded it yet, so we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But
so you tell us if it was amazing.
It was amazing. It was amazing. I guarantee it was, and will be amazing. But that was a Before the Break show, or that is a Before the Break show, or that is going to be a Before the Break show.
It was.
Verb tenses is really tricky when you do things out of order. That was a Before the Break show where we announced the official kickoff of our Biggest Loser in the Lodge competition.
Biggest Loser in the Lodge.
Biggest Loser in the Lodge.
Which is hopefully a lot of weight is going to be lost in this lodge.
Right. The lodge itself will be lighter on its feet.
There'll just be weight flopping around on the ground.
This room floor will be happy.
We will be able to accommodate even more people on the lodge, because we have lots of people tonight.
The weight capacity of the room will be more people because there'll be less of us.
Hold on a second.
Hold on. Wait,
this is going to affect my McDonald's dividends.
It is.
So
Sell.
I don't know about this.
Sell now. McDonald's is going to lose stock because I have, if everything is going correctly, not eaten it for
let's
over
see,
a
what
week.
are some healthy chains?
Healthy chains? Go buy Panera? Is that really healthy? I think, to be honest,
healthier,
you know what?
hold
on. Let me get to this, because I want to introduce.
All right, introduce our guest.
Friend of the show, long-time friend of the show.
Yeah.
His 4th time.
How many times is this?
4?
No, I think
4? You don't even know.
He doesn't care as much as we
karate, karate,
martial arts,
Teaching.
the holiday extravaganza. He was in there for
the Hobbit.
This is 5.
He's a Quinn Peter.
You join
Quintipulary.
You join an elite group of Quinn Peters.
Okay.
Those with many
Just wait till
Peters,
you're a sex Peter.
Yeah, a septipeter. Paul. Hi, Paul. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Yep. So Paul's in shape. So we asked him to be on the show.
That's really what we're looking for. It was just like
Paul's in shape.
I was going. Who do I know?
That
doesn't
fat?
eat a lot? Yeah. Who do I know that knows how to burn calories?
And we'll
get
lift
that
heavy
going.
stuff.
So, and then I called my neighbor, Brad.
Yep.
Brad, how are you?
Glad
Brad
to be
Warner.
here. Real glad to be here.
Awesome.
Well,
I was
good.
like, I got a neighbor, and he does fitness stuff, and he does it at the fitness studio.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't I have him on the show?
Sure.
He's the perfect option.
Yep, just as a career, so it's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, it's awesome. So you can come by every other Friday. We'll be recording. You just hang
Awesome.
out. You
Love
know,
it.
we'll have you in here. You'll see us cheating on our Biggest Loser. That's what could happen. He could just randomly show up and catch us eating Little Debbies.
I'm going to
and
sabotage.
whatnot.
I'm just going to bring in the Little Debbies and push them right over there next to Ryan.
Right. Hey, you know what? I'm strong, man. I'm strong.
Mhm.
I actually,
bet you are.
They call him the Oak.
I have brought my last can of Dr. Pepper.
When those
Good.
little
My last can of Dr. Pepper. It's unopened. It will remain unopened.
Is it warm?
No, because it was sitting out in the garage. I got it out of the kitchen.
when I
put it in the garage where I didn't
those
have to
little
see it. But,
fudge patties.
The fudge patty.
that's illegal, Doug. That's the official buffalo treat because
The
it
fudge patty.
looks like a buffalo patty.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm
awful.
going to keep this. I think I'm going to keep this with me. I've tried to make this switch
I
to
think
this
that's a bad
clear,
idea.
untasteless. No, actually, it's not too bad. I wish it was like spring water, but
We've only been
What's
drinking
your
it since the
what's your
beginning of
goal
time.
on that? What are you shooting for a day?
water wise,
Yep.
I don't really measure it so much. I've got a large. I'm not going to give up coffee, and I know that might be bad. We could
Neither
talk
am
about
I.
that.
How much coffee are you doing?
Just one travel mug
Okay, per day.
per day. I fill it up in the morning, and it gets me through.
I love how he asked, like so how much coffee you doing?
Yeah. Well,
It's like
I'm glad he's
I'm
asking.
trying to help you.
I'm glad he's asking. Keep me accountable. One travel mug through the work week. On the weekend, last weekend we were busy, but I can imagine I will make a pot of coffee on Saturday and probably end up drinking the whole thing throughout the day. But when I go to work, I'm not making coffee in the morning anymore. I'm waiting till I get to work. I fill up my travel mug there, and then by 10 o'clock I've got the finish, and I just go over to the
But you
water
drink your
jug.
coffee black too, and that makes a difference, right?
Oh, definitely.
See,
Keeping out the cream and the artificial sweeteners aren't good either. Just but you got started. You're cutting the pop and switching over to water. You've got a game plan.
This is it. I feel a little bit attached to it, but it's okay. There's been a lot of your friends have died. You have survived. But
so when do you drink that one today?
This one, I hope I never drink. I want to
Okay.
keep it like this. I want to keep it
Okay.
like this. It's going to hang out with me.
Good plan.
If I can make it till October 2015 without drinking, I might drain it. But yeah,
See,
I'm going to hold on to
You're
it.
lucky you work in a school system that tries to push healthy items.
Not really.
We aren't lucky enough to where our office offers us all the free pop we can drink. Name it, and we got it as an option.
I don't.
Doug's like, I don't drink it.
No, not really. Pop's really not my thing.
It is my thing.
Well, give me your guys' work environment. Give me a little bit of background on yourselves. That way I can, when I chime in, I'll be able to help you.
Yeah. Well,
You sit on your butt.
we work in an office. We work at the same place.
Okay.
Most of it is setting, talking on the phone, and emailing. I mean, I'm up out of my seat more because I just hate sitting down so much. I'm up at least once an hour getting up because I just hate sitting there that long. But most of our stuff is sitting down. Ryan, on the other hand, is lucky enough to be a teacher.
I'm a school teacher.
Where are you teaching?
Right over here. Right over here. I'm a third grade teacher right
Royerton.
right over here at Royerton. So
Great, man.
I'm up and at it all day.
It's awesome.
But
I taught high school for 2 years. I taught at Westell biology and chemistry. So I had a biology major coming out of Ball State.
that's cool.
So I taught at Westell for a couple of years. Right when I was getting started with the personal training.
Yeah.
I've done some coaching, wrestling, and football, junior high football. So that was a ton of fun.
Yeah.
I can't imagine third graders.
They're fun. They're fun. I started at fifth grade, and she's been slowly been demoted every year. Not demoted,
What's the big difference between the third graders and the fifth graders? What's the biggest difference?
They stop pooping their pants.
Attitude, really. Attitude, and the fifth graders I taught in a different. I haven't always taught. This is my first year here.
Okay.
Before
Where'd
this,
you come from?
I was 5 years in Marion Community Schools.
Okay.
So it was a different fifth grade than what we probably have here. But they were just they weren't as apt to go get it. They took a lot. You had to jump through a lot more hoops. You had to be a lot more motivating.
With the fifth graders,
yeah,
sure.
With a lot more motivating and
Kind
just
of
sort of had to really hone
that preteen kind of thing.
You had to hone your game, to get them to get interested and which it actually made me a better teacher, I think, in the end, because I have had to get more involved, more active, and get more interested in them. Fifth graders are a lot more interpersonal or extrapersonal relationship sort of thing. They want to have all their friends. The social game is really important to them.
Big time.
And then I taught fourth grade for a number of years, and I liked that a lot because that was sort of. They had the maturity of a fifth grader without quite all of the baggage that a fifth grader does.
Good age to teach.
And then this is my first year teaching third grade, and at first I was like, they're too young, they're too immature, they don't have any of that independence. But really, the first part of the school year has flown by, and now they're getting closer to that fourth grade independence and maturity and what I expect out of them. So it's actually been a lot of fun. It's actually been a lot of fun.
That'd be a pretty amazing job to be able to have, the impact on kids that you can. So that'd be pretty cool.
Hey, I love it.
So, as a whole, I think all of us are looking for maximum weight loss in the situation here, right? Because we're not actually the contest. The contest itself is going to offer a prize to listeners, but we're just doing it to say we lost more than each other. So
you three are in this. Other people that aren't here, just you three.
Well, there'll be the listeners have a contest that we're offering out to them, so they're going to supply us with a picture of their first entry weight, and then their 8-week ending weight, and then we're going to do it by percentage of weight loss. So we'll just divide the two, and then who has the highest percentage of loss will win the contest. And we're going to do the same, but we're not going to be in the contest to win the prize.
Oh, sure. Just going along with the listeners.
I mean, Doug's going to win a prize, of course. He'll pay himself something, right?
Yeah.
I did when I did a Biggest Loser at work, and I lost 16 pounds, and I paid myself real well the day after I got all that and ate the biggest meal of Chinese General Tso's chicken that I've ever had, and I felt so horrible after. It was the worst idea I think I've ever done.
Probably for a day or two.
Oh, I did, because I hadn't ate anything like that, and I was just I took it down way too fast, and I was just I slept like a baby that night, though, I'll tell you that. I felt so just uncomfortable, but it was so nice and warm. But yeah,
so what are the goals here? What's Mike? What's your goal on weight loss?
My goal.
What's the time period in the competition?
8 weeks.
Okay.
So starting last week, it's going to go from then to March, the 13th. So my goal is around 15 pounds again. I don't want to. I'm pushing it there because I've gained a little bit back from my last Biggest Loser challenge, and so I know where my point is of my breaking point, where I just my plateau, where I plateaued last time, and it was so hard to get past. So I think I'm going to get to that point and not hit my 15, but that 15 is my goal.
Hit it.
So
get on it.
That's the plan.
Get you a game plan.
Yeah, my game plan last time, I used an app called MyFitnessPal.
Oh, really popular. Very
Dude,
popular.
That thing, I went 120 days almost counting every single calorie in that thing. And I think it helped. It really did. Because I think it figured my calorie count a little too high, and I stayed under that a little bit most of the time. And I watched everyone else have a cheat day and stuff like that, and I didn't do any of that. And I was I was in it to win it. And they realized that halfway through when I was pounds ahead of his percentages. I seriously won by a good 5 or 6%, like beat everyone out of the water. So
you were obviously the most committed, and not taking those cheat days. And some people need them, but sometimes you don't have to have them.
Right. So I mean my problem was, and my problem still is gorging at night. Night
problem.
Yeah, that's my biggest issue. I eat little at breakfast. I have an apple and a banana every morning, and then lunch is random. It could be anything, and then dinner I end up eating way too much.
Switch over to protein for your breakfast. You're doing too many carbs, and it's really throwing your insulin off for the entire day. So I would recommend switching over to some type of protein and even a fat source. So you may do some lean turkey, some lean beef in the morning, a couple of eggs. I mean, I'll often do 3 eggs a day.
Yeah.
Some Ezekiel toast, and but keep the carbs lower, and you can pick up your carbs with lunch. A starch or Ezekiel bread once again is real good. And apples is one of the
What's
lower.
Ezekiel bread?
It's made from sprouts. I think there's 5 or 6 sprouts that go into it. It's a complete protein. It's high in fiber. It's one of the biggest things that I recommend to people.
Is that frozen?
Yep.
Is
you
that
can
okay?
get it
I
at
think I know
Meijer.
what it is.
It's in the vegetarian section, in the freezer section, because there's no preservative, so it can go bad. If you left it on the countertop, it's going to go bad in a week or two, which you buy a loaf of white bread, it's going to last you a long time.
So, since we've broached the subject, is bread good or bad for you?
It can be horrible or it can be a useful tool.
Let's say you go like me. I don't eat a lot of bread, but if I buy it, I always get for years now, I've always gone and buy like the Aunt Millie, like the real thick like multi-grain
well,
bread.
you're making better choices, but you're not making the best choice.
What's the best?
In terms of number one, choose to not eat bread. Stick with sweet potatoes, or start switching over to some vegetables. So there's some amazing vegetables that you can do steamed, and they'll fill you up enough. But either do, if you're not going to do bread, or if you want to do bread, you need to be doing the Ezekiel. They have cinnamon raisin and sesame. We put peanut butter and jelly on them. You can toast them.
Yeah, I don't think giving up bread is too big of a deal for me. I think our big thing is just, and Paul probably remembers, like 2 years ago, I got really committed to trying to lose weight, and like I cut out. My big thing was the sugar.
Big time.
That I didn't realize, like I started counting the calories and just didn't realize there's sugar in everything. And I think about 3 weeks in, like I no bread, very little of the processed carbohydrate stuff, and like literally I thought I was like going off of cocaine or something. Like I'd sit there and you kind of get those shakes and you're like, man, I really want like something sweet, and you're like, because it's in everything.
Well, you definitely had a hormone imbalance, and you also had an addiction to sugar, which is very, very common.
Yeah.
And that can cause other problems. That can cause candida and some things that cause a lot of inflammation in the body, a lot of allergies, a lot of rashes. Those things a lot of times come from eating too much sugar.
That's what Paul had talked about.
Hold on, I have to stop.
You want to tell your girlfriend that she's being recorded?
You realize it's on YouTube, right?
Yeah, you're going to be on YouTube right there. So everything she's back there like talking about how fat she is and like stuff like that. And I was like, she's listening to the show. And
I wanted to just make sure that she was aware. Sorry to interrupt.
Now, the candida thing, I just found out about that like a year or so ago, because they're like, you could like testing for it by like, and you wake up in the morning, you spit in a glass of water or something, and how your spit strings down, it tells you if you've got like, if you're high, you've got candida maybe. Because my big thing was like, I noticed when I cut out the sugar, my allergies, I kind of have seasonal allergies, like they got way, way better.
Oh, big time. It makes a huge difference. I mean, if you want to be really healthy and get rid of candida, research the alkaline diet. And I'm not real big proponent of diets. I think you need to just have some structure. like Mike said earlier, tracking it, MyFitnessPal, those types of things are great, and they keep you accountable, and they just keep you there. You're thinking about your food instead of just random. Hey, let's go for lunch here. Let's go for lunch there. Let's get a pizza. I mean,
Let's
those
go
things.
to Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, if you have a good game plan, you won't get in trouble with making those choices.
Well, I think, not to step on, I was like going to interrupt Brian, but I think one of the hardest things is like the stuff you buy in the store, like it's so much crap. I don't know any way to describe it unless you really have to be committed to like cooking pretty much everything from scratch. You have to.
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, you should spend most of your time on the outside of the grocery store. In terms of the fruits and vegetables,
Right.
you notice they're all on the outside. Your lean meats are on the outside. Your dairy, which I'm not a big fan of, but your eggs, I'm a huge fan, especially for guys.
Right.
If you have 3 whole eggs a day, your testosterone's going to be better. Your recovery's going to be better. People are scared of eggs, and they're really scared of the cholesterol, but I think your liver has a natural feedback mechanism. If you're ingesting cholesterol, it's going to produce less. So if you don't eat the eggs, your liver is going to produce more. So you got to watch the sugars. That's what's causing people the problems.
What about the sugar from fruits? Like what's a healthy?
Big difference, because the sugar from fruits is balanced with the fiber, the rind and the skin
Right.
and the different things. That's nature's way. And, we've messed that up as men, and we've pulled it out, and it's just sugar in all kinds of nasty forms, and it's damaging, and it's really toxic to the body. And I'm guilty of it just like anyone else. I mean, I have a sweet tooth, and I'll eat some candy bars and destroy some
Right.
cookies over Thanksgiving. I mean,
Right.
pie. I mean, but I have to know when to draw the line, and it just kind of centers around what my goals are. If I'm doing a bodybuilding show, or I've recently gotten into powerlifting first time last year, so that was great. That was a lot of fun. And it shifted my goals and shifted my nutrition as well. So it's been kind of cool.
Because at that point, you're burning so much calories that you can kind of eat more, right? I mean, like it's when you get like guys that are cross training that are running miles and miles a day. The guy can sit there and eat a stack of pancakes like this because it's going to be gone out of his system like nothing, right?
Definitely. I mean, you got to look at your lifestyle and what you're doing all day. I mean, if a cousin said, "Hey, help me with this construction job for a week," and you went out and you started it, you're going to have to change your calories and eat more that week, as opposed to just sitting in the office. So you got to look at what's going on in your life at that time,
Right.
and even during your day, you're thinking, okay, I'm going to go to bed at 10. You shouldn't be eating past 7 o'clock. Give yourself 3 hours to digest and process your day, and then you go to bed with your hormones in the proper level to really burn some fat overnight.
What about water at bedtime? Is that, I've heard some people say it's good, other people say it doesn't matter.
I think it's helpful. I mean, if your body needs the water, if you're battling candida or getting started on a weight loss program, sometimes our stomachs need time to adapt to shrinking and keeping a little bit of water in there, because your stomachs are going to shrink up. And that helps, because then when you do get hungry, you won't be hungry for quite as much. Your body adapts.
Awesome.
So, water-wise, if you're not taking a water pill or blood pressure medicine, you probably should start out with 64 ounces a day. That's a good place to start. Maybe work up to 96. If you're taking water pills or blood pressure medicine, you could cause yourself a problem, or if you have a bladder issue. But in most cases, if you're drinking more water, you're going to be drinking less juices and pops and things that aren't doing anything but causing you problems.
Right.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. Actually, there's a really interesting video on YouTube of a guy. He took a 30-day 10 Coke a day challenge, and he typically only ate meats, fats, and vegetables, and he was a healthy 50-year-old man. But then he added on, normally he would just drink water, but he kept eating the same, kept the same activity level, but drank 10 Cokes a day. So he was actually drinking an extra 1,400 calories. And a lot of people don't understand, how many calories they actually drink per day.
Mm-hmm.
They typically just don't process that. So, we as Americans drink a ton of sugar. And it's not even healthy sugar in terms of like natural sugar. It's high fructose corn syrup.
Right.
So that guy, I think that he gains like 23, 25 pounds or something like that in 30 days of just changing that one thing in his diet, drinking those 10 Cokes a day. So,
but
the
if
biggest,
you remove 10 Cokes a day,
yeah,
is what I'm thinking.
but the thing is that you need to drink more water,
Who drinks
especially
10 Cokes a day?
Let's see.
Well, he was doing
Yeah,
the
he
study,
just to prove a
correct?
point.
Just to
Yeah.
prove a point.
But still, that's
Well,
a lot.
you can't always even look at just calories. You can't always say, oh, it's just 1,400 calories. Sugar causes a massive release of insulin, which causes initially you feel great. You're drinking pop and having energy and just feeling great, and then your blood sugar drops too low, and then your hunger comes on. And it's very inflammatory. So another thing to look at on the foods is do some research on inflammatory properties of foods. That's real important, along with the alkaline. And if what you would find is the nuts, the fruit, some of the meats are pretty good, wild salmon, those types of things. But if you stick with healthy fruits and the nuts, Ezekiel bread is my staple. I keep bringing that up, but it's just easy to get those calories. Sometimes I need 4,000 calories a day for heavy training, so it takes a lot. And
I probably eat that much, like not even thinking about it. When I'm not counting, I bet I eat 4,000 calories not training, and that's not good.
You are training; it's just not training for
well,
something good.
But the foods
training for an early death.
you're eating are very calorie dense. If it's fast foods
You're
and
right.
processed, they're very calorie dense.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to focus on foods that are nutrient dense as far as fibers and vitamins and things that are going to keep you full.
Right.
And work on that shift.
So, how do you guys feel about the whole juicing thing? The smoothies, the green
The
shakes,
Jack
kale.
LaLanne Power Juicer.
Like the
I
kale and the
had
green
one of
apples.
those. Absolutely had one of those, and it was great. I mean, the juice was great. You could put tons of nutrients in there with different types of fruits and vegetables, but it was a pain in the ass. And
Right.
you just you didn't want to spend 10 minutes of cleanup. I was I had to make some juice and then go right back to work.
Now there's what is it, Ninja? They've got theirs that's just throw the vegetable and just the whole thing,
Yeah.
the whole shebang, and just grind it up.
Well,
'cause-
listen, if you're going to look at buying those things or investing in those, think about, okay, 6 weeks from now, is this something that I'm still going to be doing?
Right.
And
Right.
you really got to ask that question
No.
because that Jack LaLanne juicer was $200.
Right.
And I used it for maybe a week or so, and you get out of the habit. If something's too difficult or if it's a pain in the ass, you're just going to stop doing it. And
Right.
that's kind of what it was. It wasn't a huge chore, but it was just kind of, it wasn't the most user friendly. I think the Ninjas and stuff might be fine. It's all enclosed, and if that's going to help you stay on track and do more vegetables, then do it. But if 6 weeks later it's in your cupboard, not collecting dust, then
Well, you can make
and how
margaritas with
often-
it too. I mean,
yeah. And how
So-
often do you wrap your apple in a thing of spinach and shove a carrot through it and eat it at the same time? So I don't know. I just rather eat the carrot at lunch and the apple for breakfast and the spinach for dinner or something.
yeah, and that's fine. That's a perfectly good plan. I mean, a vegetable steamer could be perfect for you, all of you guys. That would be something that could really help you. You can buy a 2-decker. Put your meats in the bottom, put all your vegetables for the week in the top. Just do it once a week, cut up everything, and probably about an hour prep, and you got most of your meals for the week. And then you're not going to be worried about any other foods that might present themselves because you got your food right there.
what
yeah,
about
that's
And it's probably going to cost you $50.
What about the idea of just I know frozen takes a lot of the nutrients out of the vegetables, but with having 2 kids, I have to think about time restraints on
Frozen's
stuff.
Fine. You're good on that. Broccoli, green beans, things that aren't processed, and sometimes they just try to put a lot of chemicals in some. Just stick with the basics.
Right.
Beans. I mean, those are all great foods. For the kids too.
Yeah. She loves vegetables.
That's one of the things that we've really been working on, because my wife is interested as well. She's not. I mean, she's in a lot better shape than I am, and she's always exercised. She put miles and miles and miles on her treadmill and Fitbit just forever. But one of the things that we really talked about coming out of this and coming into this show and getting ready for the contest was I always told her I didn't want to be the guy that joins the Y in January. You know what I mean? I don't want to be that guy.
Okay, there's nothing wrong with that.
I don't want to be the guy that makes this decision as a New Year's resolution and it becomes a diet plan that in 6 weeks I'm no longer following the diet plan.
Right.
I want this to be a lifestyle change. I want this to be a lifetime commitment to be able to walk my daughter down the aisle when she gets married. I want to make a series of those changes in this past year, and they've been difficult, but I've been able to accomplish them. So it's like, just buying frozen vegetables rather than buying Ore-Ida crispy crowns. You know what I mean? Like, it takes the same amount of time to prepare, but it's a healthier choice.
What's an Ore-Ida crispy crown?
Like hash browns, like the little hash browns.
I want to say candy cane. Man, where's my brain at? It's a tater tot. You know what I mean? Like
the hash browns of Burger King.
Okay.
Same idea, the little flat ones.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was like a broccoli crown.
Well, no, because that's what I'm saying is that we've got.
That sounds delicious.
Even though the kids like the tater tots, even though our kids like the tater tots and they want the tater tots and so forth, if we don't need to be making 2 meals just so that her and I can have broccoli and they can have tater tots. No, the kids need to be eating the broccoli too.
Right.
You need to make it clear to the kids, hey, tater tots is a treat. This is once a week. The rest of the week we're eating vegetables, and that's just how it is.
Yeah.
I wouldn't give the kids too much choice in that, and make them understand that there's a way to make healthy choices and also still have what you want some of the time.
Right.
Well, you brought up potatoes. Good or bad? Because they've been.
Guys, you got to look at the situation. If it's right after a workout and you need some carbs to get some energy back and to replace your muscle glycogen, then a potato's fine. A sweet potato in general is going to be a better choice in terms of the glycemic index and its effects if you're trying to lose weight. Okay. But a potato would be fine if you're using it more as recovery. And then the brown rice is fine. It's going to be a better choice than the white rice. The same with breads. I mean, we all know these things. Mm-hmm. It's just a matter of doing them.
Right.
But it's just, I don't know. It's just all, this stuff cycles in and out of, well, this is bad for you, this year this is bad for you, and then I don't know that it's so much it's bad, it's just, like you said, I think it's, nobody's really educated on what they should be eating and when they should be
guys.
eating it.
I mean, you're fed certain stuff from the media and even within the school systems, because back in the 80s, in the school systems following the food pyramid, it was extremely high carbohydrate, very little fat.
Carbs.
And it's caused an epidemic of diabetes and other conditions, sugar-related conditions. Because, in my opinion, arthritis can be sugars can lead to that, or certainly make that more likely. So it's just got to be that way.
So
what do you say, Paul?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to, I know what I eat in terms of percentage of food, like what percentage of protein I eat, what percentage of carbs I eat, what percentage of fats. But let's ask the master here, what do you recommend as a percentage for most people that are just looking for general weight loss?
Excellent question. And I think some of it depends on the amount of calories that you decide to take in. But generally, protein, you're going to want that to be about 30 to 40% of your calories or more. But typically I would start with about 30 to 40%. Carbs could be anywhere from 20 if you're doing more of a low carb approach, up to the 40%. A standard bodybuilding protocol would be 40-40-20. 40% protein, 40% carbs, and 20% fat. And that can certainly work if your carb selection is good and you don't have 50 pounds to lose. If you're wanting to trim up, 10 or 15 pounds, that's a real good ratio.
Okay.
In some cases, even lower carb, higher fat, that can be extremely helpful because you're going to be balancing your insulin and your other hormones, keeping your hunger at bay, and start to get your body, get rid of the candida and make it more anti-inflammatory. Higher carbs is more inflammation, which can lead to problems.
Right.
That's why people taking in 70 to 80% calories from carbs have all kinds of problems.
See, I think you guys, they hit on a good point. Is we all remember growing up, all the medical experts from, I don't know, 1950 or 60, whenever that report was published by the USDA. And me growing up, the food pyramid, it was all about bread and pasta and like 7 to some 11
7
servings.
to 11 servings.
Oh,
of
it's
that,
nuts.
and-
It caused an epidemic, which has made the medical society very, very happy and very rich.
Yeah.
But it hasn't done a whole lot for the citizens.
So, in a way, it's kind of America coming to grips with, we got fed some bad science, I guess, and now trying to figure it out and work our way out of it.
We're still fed that bad science, though.
It's a corporate society, and it's going to be run by the corporation. They're going to
Right.
decide what products are pushed to people, and really what they'll buy into is basically what it boils down to.
Right.
Always just stick with the basics. Stick with natural foods, raw foods, very minimal processing. That's the way to go.
Okay.
Well,
So
I've got
go ahead.
two things. First, I love all this discussion about the inflammatories because I'm 34 years old, and I feel like this is what a 90-year-old feels like when he wakes up in the morning. And to know that there's so much probably of my diet that's contributing to like the foot aches and the knee aches and the so forth.
Something that'll help that out quite a bit is like as you're working out and as you're doing weight loss, your body's immune system is actually weakened initially after you work out.
Big time.
So
Big time.
while you're working out, and like Brad obviously is a heavy lifter, I'm a heavy lifter. It takes a toll on you. So while you're working out, you need to take a varied assortment of vitamins and minerals that are going to help your body to recover and to keep it healthy. So like for you, you're talking about having really, really bad joint pain and things like that. I like right off the bat, 2 supplements that'll help you out a lot are flaxseed oil or fish oil if you're brave enough to, not worry about the mercury content in it. But some type of an omega-3 is going to help you out with your joints, and MSM is really,
I would
really-
agree 100%, on both of those. Paul and I have used both of those, extensively, and huge benefits from those.
Okay.
What's MSM?
It turns into sulfur in the body, and sulfur is a very high component within your joints, your connective tissue, your synovial fluid. So if you have an imbalance in any of those, you're going to be, in aches and pains.
Okay.
So it forms the raw ingredients of those things, and it really helps the body. You can feel it within a week of taking it. I mean, would you agree, Paul?
Oh yeah, like it's
5 to 7 days, and all of a sudden you're like, this is really working. Some of these aches and pains are gone.
yeah.
But if you get your diet in order and have a good activity program, 2 to 3 months, you could be feeling great, all of you.
That's what
Awesome.
I'm excited for. That's my goal. That's what I'm hoping when we get done to the March 13th deadline. I want to lose. I'm 20 pounds is the weight that I want to lose. By the time we get to March 13th. But really, I'm trying to take a mental picture essentially of everything that I feel throughout a day right now, and I hope to never feel it again, so that I can take another picture, mental picture March 8th, and just do a really compare and contrast about. This hurt, that hurt. I felt like this when I got up. I was unclear until I got to work at 8 o'clock. I want to see what sort of those biophysical changes that sort of take over as I start taking better care of myself. But my second sort of question that I wanted to ask is: we've talked a lot about nutrition, we've talked a lot about what we're putting in our body, but what sort of activity plan
Right.
Because, I mean,
I thought he
always
was
said
going to say what's coming out of our body.
no. I'm saying
That's kind of what I thought he
I'm
was going to
saying
say too.
what in my line of thought, and this is a very ignorant sort of approach. I get that, but to me, I always used to joke, or I don't know what I'd say, but when my wife and I would talk about me getting in better shape, I was like, I know how to do it. I know how to do it. You just got to put less in and burn more out. So, you know what I mean? Like I just got to, that's all I got to do. I just got to do that at some point. But when we're talking about burning more out.
In a nutshell, that is true.
So when we're talking about burning more out, what cardio and strength, more strength, less cardio, an even mix of both, 40 minutes a day, 60 minutes a day, 20 minutes a day?
You know, with men, if you're doing at least 2 hours a week of strength training and up to 4, I mean, Paul and I probably 5 and 6 hours a week sometimes, I'm sure, but sometimes it's only 3 or 4. So you got to look at 2 to 4 hours a week of strength training. You know, using the proper form, using some intensity. I mean, you're not going to get anywhere trying to curl 20 pounds your whole life. You gotta work up. I mean, if you can do 20s in 2 weeks, I want you doing 25s. In 8 weeks, I want you doing 40s. Push yourselves a little bit. Give the body a reason to be young and to be strong. You got to give your body a reason to be strong, and focus on the activities. Get you a game plan. It's got to be accessible, and it has to be something that you can commit to. You got to be if it's a pain in the ass. If you're hey, I want to do some kickboxing, and it's 25 minutes across town, and you got to they want you there 4 days a week. Is that really going to work? During the winter. So it's got to be convenient and something that can push you and keep you motivated. So
that's when I did the first Biggest Loser. We have an elliptical here, and I was hitting that hard, and I would get to a point where about midway through that, I was setting the system to do 30, 40 minutes, something like that on it, and it would give me the ups and downs and pressures and stuff. And once I got on it enough, there were days where I would be up there and I'd be listening to music and I'd be in it, and I would set another one and just keep going, like because you break that point, because you get it is I don't want to get back into it because there's always that. It felt like there was a breaking point every single time where I get to that point and like I'm pushing, and then you hit it and it's like, I'm fine. I could do this for another 2 hours.
Yeah.
I don't even care, man. It's awesome.
And that's the fun part.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great.
So it's like it was just getting on it and getting to that point and getting in that regiment of being able to do it enough. And that was the only thing that I did, was that I didn't do any weightlifting or anything like that. I was counting on just burning calories. That's all I was.
How many days a week?
I was doing it at some point. I was doing it every day, but it was. I would do it more some days. Like if I did that one day where I did it like for an hour, the next day I'd only do it for like 20 minutes.
Right.
And I'd bring it down and bring it back up and things like that, because I knew like if I did that again, probably the next day I wouldn't even want to get on it. Like,
right. So it was manageable for you.
Right. It's got some nice programmable features on it that I can really set it to different links and different types of workouts and stuff. They've got strength training and they've got weight loss sides to it. So I was kind of flipping back and forth through them. But one of the questions that I had was, I could never decide for weight loss reasons. I would do it at night. I would come home after work, but I could never decide on my setup if it was better to do it before I had dinner or after I had dinner. And I was kind of thinking it kind of was based on what we were having for dinner, on how I would decide that. Like if we were having like a salad or something like that, I was doing it before. But if we were going to have like a big hearty meal, I was doing it after.
How long after dinner though?
Not very long. Pretty quick afterwards.
That might have overstressed the body a little bit.
Okay.
To be honest with you, because your body at that point, you're giving your body signals to, hey, digest this food. Let's get this stuff processed, and then you're asking it to do something else that's pretty stressful in terms of doing the cardio right at that time. So
and like typically you don't want to work out later in the day, because when you're working out later in the day, you're getting this to pump faster.
Right.
And if you do that, then you're going to go to bed and you're still not going to be at a good rate to fall asleep. So your body's not going to get as much rest, so you're not going to recover as fast.
Well, you're
I
getting
never
your
really had-
engine. I mean, you're basically getting your engines revved up. I mean,
Right.
You're getting the body temperature up, and you're getting all those muscles active, and your body's got to have some time to wind down for bed.
And I felt like sometimes when I did it, I felt like when I did it before we ate, I would get done and I'd be exhausted. But if I did it after we ate, I felt like I could do it longer and more. I don't know
Well,
why.
you had
maybe
you had
because-
more fuel in
Yeah.
your body from
That's-
dinner. You
that's-
had more sugars.
And then I
in the
kind of,
bloodstream.
when I got closer to the end of the 8 weeks, I was still doing it afterwards, but closer to the end, I kind of figured it out where I was coming home right away. I was eating like a peanut butter sandwich and then going up there and doing it. And that kind of helped me, gave me something in my stomach because I hadn't ate since 1 noon, something like that. So I didn't have anything in my stomach. I was throwing something in there real quick and then running upstairs and doing it, and it worked.
Well, you know what really worked for you, I think, is more timing than anything. I
Right.
mean, you came home straight from work, didn't sit down, didn't lay down because you might end up staying there. I'll do this later, or I'll do this tomorrow. You got right on it with nothing in your way. And, you know, the nutrition part, that was just a matter of how hard you could push that day.
Okay.
You know, but the main thing is you stayed on that routine enough time to, you know, give you the results.
Right.
Not everybody has to weight train. Cardio, if you're doing that, it needs to be done 5 or 6 days a week. If you're
Right.
not going to do any weight training, if you're weight training 2 or 3 hours a week, or less, you could do 30 minutes of weight training 3 times a week and get a lot of benefit from the amount of time that's spent, because your body has to, you know, help the muscles recover. You've got the breakdown of protein. It increases the metabolism. You're really doing yourself some good. You add 10 pounds of muscle, you're all of a sudden you're burning 300 or 400 more calories per day than what you did before, if not a little bit more.
So
You're basically building your metabolism, number one, by doing some strength training, gaining some muscle, and then working on the appropriate ratios of your nutrients and getting enough food. Because if you eat more and more and more and more, in some cases that can work. Guys eat too little sometimes. If you're thinking, okay, I'm going to win this competition, but I'm going to start myself on 1,200 calories a day, you're not going to get anywhere. You've got to start at a reasonable level and focus on the changes you've made, giving up the pop. And guys, keep it small. This is all about momentum. You start, hey, this week I accomplished these things. Getting back to Ryan's, you know, saying, hey, I'm going to do a mental picture of this. Get you a 3-ring binder or workout journal and write in it every day or once a week. Hey, I lost this much this week. My goal for next week is this. Writing it down puts a lot of energy to it, and it can make a huge difference. MyFitnessPal, that would be the same type of situation. So you just got to, and instead of focusing on you know, the day to day or the week to week, have that mental picture in your mind of where you're going to be. You know, you're Ryan 20 pounds. Doug, what for you?
What, 8 weeks?
Yeah.
Probably about 30.
Okay, and guys, it can all be done.
31.
you gonna do 31? You gonna beat him?
I don't. I'm just trying to go from like previous experience, because for some reason, like whenever I've tried, my biggest thing is just falling off. Because when I start, I'll get into it, and when I get dedicated to it, I'll stick with it, and it seems like I drop weight really, really, really fast. Like it's had been nothing literally for me within 2 weeks, like 15 pounds, just boom, gone. You know.
What were the biggest changes in dropping that?
I went to the Y. I would go to the Y every day. Usually I'd walk on the treadmill, work it up to the point where I was like going on the highest incline. I'd do that for about 15 minutes, and then I'd go over and just try to lift different weights, different workout, and I'd usually do that 4 times a week, maybe 5, and then changing what I ate. I cut out the breads and the processed stuff, and I mean it was simple changes, But the problem is, I did that for about, I want to say about 3 months, and I went from around 300, I think I was like 330-ish pounds, and I got down to 278 in around 3.5 months. And then for whatever reason, I remember the day, it was like in April. I didn't go to the Y that day, and for some reason, just something like switched off in my brain. I was like, oh, I need to go the next day, and it was you get out of that rhythm.
You lost your commitment.
Yeah.
And guys, like I said, this is all about momentum. So day one, it's going to feel really tough. You get a couple weeks into it or a couple months into it, and you build that momentum throughout your routine.
Right.
And it just something got you sidetracked. So there was something that came up that got you out of your routine, and once you're out of your routine, everything else falls apart.
That's a hard thing. I think if Paul at that time wasn't out of the. If he would have been out of the Y as much as now, I maybe would have stuck with it more, having him there to motivate me. But our job. And it's gotten even worse for me. I've gotten busier and busier and busier, and now if I'm starting to travel throughout the United States, trying to find that time to just dedicate to say, even if I'm in a hotel somewhere, figuring out some way to get the exercise in, even if it's doing like stretches or something.
You just have to do it. You have to make the commitment to doing it. Whether you skip a half hour, an hour of sleep, you got to have that activity and keep the body active.
Right.
And that's very important.
One thing that I wanted to bring up is that both of you, Mikey and Ryan, you both talked about cardio and running and things like that. And I'm not saying anything bad about cardio. It has great health implications. It's really, really good for your heart, your lungs, and everything, and you shouldn't skip out on it. But the thing is that you can't burn near as many calories running or walking or biking as you can if you are lifting heavy weight. Okay? Because when you lift weight, you're actually breaking down the muscle so that you are constantly burning calories and fat. So, like then that's what Brad is talking about, getting those 2, 3, 4, 5 hours in every week in the gym, of actually getting in there and doing some heavy lifting. Because if you do that, in a half an hour of running, you're only probably going to burn about maybe 300 calories. Well, if you get your heart rate really, really high, maybe as many as 400 or 500 calories.
I'd be nervous to get it really high right away.
And rightly so.
Yeah,
you got to start small, whether that be 10 minutes on the treadmill, 10 minutes on the elliptical. Start small and build on it every time you go.
But I mean, you guys get in there and you start lifting weight. In that half an hour of running, or in that half an hour of lifting weights, you'll burn probably double the amount of calories that you would running and doing cardio. So when you go into the gym, like when you're building a physique or when you're trying to get to a certain goal of weight loss or get to a certain look, weightlifting is always the way to get there. Cardio is a way of keeping you healthy, but it's not necessarily the greatest way of losing weight and building a physique. So I don't know if Brad has any other insight on that. But
I would definitely agree. Like I said, I think you need to commit to 2 to 3 hours a week of weights. And the first step for all of you guys is coming up with an activity plan, because your activity and your exercise, that's your foundation. Right. People say, oh, it's 70% nutrition. You've got to have the foundation there. And the foundation, just like when you were successful, it was because you were hitting the elliptical almost every day.
Right.
Doug, you were going to the gym 5 and 6 days a week. Your commitment level was different, and that made all the difference.
Right.
But your first plan is figuring out an activity plan.
Awesome.
And then from there, you got to make sure it's something that you're going to be able to stick with, and then figure out what your goals are on your nutrition. You can't just say, I want to lose 30 pounds, I'm just going to eat less.
Right.
You'll burn out after 4 or 5 weeks, and then you won't lose anymore. So
Right.
you've got to look at it long term. And if you've got more than 30 pounds to lose, plan it out a little bit ahead of time. When you lose, you drop two pant sizes, throw those pants away. That's
Right.
not you.
Right.
That doesn't have to be you. You can be whatever size, within reason that you want to maintain. Just put in the work in.
Good.
And as you're doing it, you at least like I do a lot of powerlifting. Injury is my worst nightmare. Like that's the one thing that'll just ruin any type of goal that I have of chasing down lifting heavier weight. So keeping yourself healthy, and that's gonna be what keeps you motivated to get back in the gym. Because if you're so sore when you wake up the next morning that you physically can't do certain things, then that's going to demotivate you to go back to the gym. So
Well, and
that's
guys,
why I tell you
it can be too much stress. You got to. This is gradual. This has to be gradual. You can't run a marathon overnight.
Right.
So
And that's
why,
what you're looking at.
That's why I was telling Ryan, increase the amount of water that you drink. That way your body flushes out all the impurities very quickly. Make sure that you're taking MSM, flaxseed oil, vitamin B, vitamin C. And if you get into heavy lifting, you probably can't eat the amount of protein that you need to rebuild that muscle. So you should probably be taking some type of a protein powder. And you might even want to take BCAAs and things like that are going to make your muscle grow faster, stronger. So
Awesome.
Well, and guys, Paul and I, we both train natural. I mean, we're not using steroids. We're not doing any of those things. We train natural. We use the nutrition that I've been talking about, the supplements Paul mentioned, and Paul knows how to eat. He knows how to train his body. He's my hero. He's my sensei. So I've been working under him for a while, and he's amazing with his body, what he can do physically. But he's put a lot of work into it. The karate is very similar to the strength training. I mean, I've been training weights 27 years, pretty consistently, and I just fell in love with it. And for me, it's just always been reaching towards that next goal and what's the next thing going to be, and being able to stay active. I mean, I just turned 40. But I feel great. I mean, I feel strong.
I can't believe you're 40. You don't look 40 at all. I always
I
thought
don't
you were
act
maybe
it either.
30. but that's the other thing that he's bringing up too. Really, really important about your weight loss goals. You shouldn't hate it. You shouldn't hate going to the gym. Going to the gym should be something you look forward to during the day. Like my wife and I. That's the best thing you can do if you're married or you have a girlfriend or spouse or something like that.
Well, I'm married, but my girlfriend likes to work out too.
Get them in the gym with you. It's a really, really good, fun time to see both of you, reach your goals. Like my wife, I was hoping to get her on the show tonight, but she wasn't able to make it. She started out this whole venture probably about 3 or 4 months ago. And she's lost 14 pounds and just looks amazing.
Oh, she's looking good. She's really shaped up.
And, now her goal is to gain back up to about 120 pounds and then cut back down to about 115 and really, really get into a lot of strength training and doing some powerlifting tournaments and things like that. So, the best part of her day is going to the gym, and that's what you should fitness shouldn't be something that you're like, oh God, I gotta go.
Well, and it can start out that way. It can, I see guys like you every day. I can see sometimes 25 to 30 people a day. It's a lot of women, but I have a lot of men as well. Typically from 35 to 60. I've got an 80-year-old client, so working with them, and my focus is always on improvement. If you're doing nothing, a big improvement would be 30 minutes. Go to the gym. Go to the gym 30 minutes a week or 30 minutes a day every day. Do 30 minutes on your elliptical every single day. If 30 minutes is too much, start with 20. Do it every single day. Weight training, you need a little bit more time, but on those other days, you could be working on some stretching. Those could be your days to walk. We haven't touched on walking, but if you can't do anything else, walk every single day. Look at where you're at now and think, okay, what's the first step? If you're running 5Ks and you want to start running marathons, well, the first step is you got to do a little bit more. You got to make a further commitment.
Right.
You got to. So start small and just build on that.
One of the biggest things that I do miss from being in the shape that I was a few years ago was the level of sleep. The quality of sleep was so much better. Having an extra 30 pounds, 40 pounds on your gut, and sleeping, you only feel comfortable certain ways, and it's like, you're not getting, you got the pressure on your lungs, and you're not breathing as good.
Now, do any of you guys use a sleep machine?
No.
Mm-mm.
It's pretty common, and you don't want that. So, get it taken care of. This is not you. You can do the things to be healthy. I mean, that's the biggest thing we're talking about here is health.
Right. So to close out, because I think we're getting real close on our time here, give us kind of an idea of, so we're all the people in the listening and us, kind of an idea of where we should go eating wise on kind of a daily basis. Like you told me, I was bringing in too much carbs and too much sugars at the beginning of my day, and I should be switching over to some breakfast wise. You said maybe some hard-boiled eggs, something like that.
Yeah, I mean,
or some turkey and stuff like that. And then lunch wise, for someone that's not doing too much physical activity during the day and then doing it more at night, how should I be kind of leaning my diet to go with that?
Make sure your lunch has some protein.
Okay.
Protein's going to balance the carbohydrates. It's just going to keep things more in check. If you just eat carbs only at a meal, you run into problems. So small amount of protein. I mean, that could be your chicken, your fish, eggs. I mean, scrambled, hard-boiled, whatever. Turkey, bacon. I'm not a big fan of pork. I think pork can slow you down, but in terms of the other meats, I think those are great. Nuts would be another good option, at breakfast. So I think if you get things started properly and don't imbalance your insulin, you just end up having a better day. Then you could eat a light lunch, like we said, your protein, a vegetable, that's going to have your fiber, that's going to help keep you full. Some starches are going to be okay too, depending on what you're doing in the afternoon.
What's going to keep me from having that 2:00 drain when I'm changing what I'm eating during the day? I'm going to probably have that point that I kind of hit sometimes during every day where I'm like at that 2-3 o'clock where I'm just like, I can't even finish this day out.
And that's your imbalance. That's the imbalance in your insulin and some of the other hormones in your body. So keeping the carbs lower at breakfast is going to get you started. Keeping a light lunch. And then at 2:00, plan on, if your schedule allows, eating a snack. Eat a small apple and a handful of almonds. And that hunger is going to be there, that some tiredness might be there. That's probably going to pep you up. But then by the time you get to dinner, you're not ready to binge because you've balanced that out. You're not quite as hungry when you get to dinner. If you go 8 hours without eating and you get to dinner, watch out. Any food in the area is gone. That's just how it is. That's how we're built. So do a snack, and getting back to your exercise, Mike, in terms of the elliptical, what time were you eating dinner?
Well, we would come home, and if I would eat before, it's normally by 6:00. I'd have dinner in me. By 6:45, I'm up there on it, and then we wouldn't go to bed till like 11. So I would have a cool down time to kind of rest and be done with it. But I think I probably need to switch that to the morning, don't I?
What time are you off work?
5. But then we got kids and stuff, so it's balancing getting the kids fed and a bottle feeding baby and stuff like that. So getting those things done on top of me being able to get in a workout is, of course, that's priority number one, and then the workout comes in second, so it has to fit in there.
So 5 o'clock wasn't an option in terms of doing the elliptical.
No, because with picking up kids and getting them here and getting that set up and stuff like that, would it be better if because I could do it at 6 a.m. and do it before everybody else gets up. And
well, the question you need to ask yourself is 3 months from now, what time is going to be a little bit easier to maintain, a little bit less energy to maintain it. If the evening time is harder to come by, then go to the morning. Whatever's going to keep you consistent for a long enough period of time. If you've got 50 pounds or you got 70 pounds to lose, you got to put the work in, and you got a while. It's going to take you a while.
Right. So I was fitting it in. That was actually before we had our second kid. Now putting the second kid in the mix, getting on it is a little bit more difficult, but I'm going to make sure I do it
in the morning.
I need to get up earlier. That's my problem.
Wake up.
I have clients at 5:30 in the morning a couple of days a week.
Yeah.
And they're pretty consistent. I mean, some of my afternoon clients are not. They get things that come up with kids or come up at work. So the morning clients they're pretty regular.
Right.
And some of them have been going at it for years.
I should just do it. I should just start getting up and doing it. That's it.
That's what
I'm
I
doing
did
it
this week. This is the first time I've ever tried to lose weight. This is the first time I've ever cared what went in my body or how, I've never done it before. I've never attempted. So it's all sort of. I haven't had a lot of yo-yoing. I've just had a slow, gradual increase throughout lifetime.
What's your age?
I'm 34.
Okay.
So I feel like I'm knocking on the door.
You're coming into a very critical time period.
Yeah.
Time when things could really go wrong in a hurry.
Yeah.
But if you start now and really get going on it, you can forego a lot of problems, and you just don't want those medical bills or to even have to turn to the medical system to keep you healthy.
Right.
Preventative, and just making a commitment. Get active and get your hormones balanced in your diet. Get your insulin balanced. Focus on the alkaline, keeping and look at the glycemic index of those foods.
Okay.
Should be pretty low. A very high glycemic index, obviously sugar, glucose, different types of processed grains. It's very high. It goes in, you feel good for a few minutes, and then you crash. And then you just want to eat more and more. It's almost an addictive effect.
Right. I think both of us kind of have the same goal on mind. When I did my first Biggest Loser, it was I wanted to have more energy to play with my kids, and that's where I was at that time, and I still want to do that, and I put the weight back on, and I want to take it off because I can tell when I stopped working out, like I feel a little bit more sluggish and stuff like that, but when I was working out, I could do more with my kids. I felt like I had more energy to do all that.
Question,
I want to have more energy to hang out with my friends.
Yeah, I bet that's what.
I don't want to hang out with my kids. I want to be able to hang out with my friends. I want to be able to record more podcasts and hang out more. The idea, I had this image in my head of like the three of us at one point all at the gym throwing weight together, and I just thought that would be.
I was just looking.
That'd be so much fun.
I was just looking at all three of you guys. Okay?
This is belly fat.
Okay, you three. If all of you get to the strongest version of yourselves, you are talking about three absolute beasts in the gym in terms of being able to. I mean, because you think all three of you have broad shoulders, so you lose the weight that you have in your waist, you guys will all be just absolutely just like Vikings.
Freak beasts.
Freak
Vikings.
beasts.
I like Vikings.
I like that.
I like Vikings.
There it is.
That's
Paul can show you a picture of the freak beast.
No, I think Viking. I like Viking better.
But when you guys are doing that though, the other thing, and I'm really big on this, is just like avoid injury at all costs. If you don't have time to dedicate to everything that goes into weight training or cardio, then you really need to make sure that you do things right. And what I mean by that is I spend a great amount of time. I always laugh to myself when I see somebody go into the gym and put their 1 rep max, the absolute biggest weight that they can lift on the bar, and lift it without any without any type of a warm up or any
It's
type of
very
a stretch.
reckless. It's very
So,
reckless.
like when
with
you
the
go
body.
in there, you should spend a great deal of time stretching out, getting your muscle and your body warmed up so that you don't tear anything, you don't, have any joint issues or anything like that. And that's going to allow you to have those platforms so you're not, aching and in pain all the time.
There's no reason for it.
Yeah. And you'll get to the strongest and best looking version of yourself. And that's, like I've always wanted to kind of, I really, really had to, eat a very certain way and lift, a great amount of weight in order to be able to put on the amount of muscle that I have over the past, 5 or 6 months now. And a lot of that is due to just me being healthy enough to go into the gym 5 days a week. So,
Well, before we go, I'd like to get Brad's opinion very quickly on a very contentious topic that Paul and I have discussed, and that's the phenom that has become CrossFit. Do you have any opinions on the CrossFit?
CrossFit is it's obviously very popular. I mean, it's extremely popular. I've had some experience with it, not doing it myself, but being around it and kind of seeing what it's all about. With the proper instructor, I think CrossFit can be okay. But I don't know how many great instructors that there are out there. I mean, CrossFit inherently has some risks and some danger that's not real typical in just standard strength training. I mean, doing handstand push-ups with your head facing the ground or some of the muscle-up things. I just think there's some stress on the joints, and I don't prefer to train that way. I'm like Paul. I'm focused on form. I worked out for an hour today, and I looked at the clock. We spent 25 minutes of that warming up. And that's a good point. The better shape you get in, the higher your body's just higher powered. I mean, it's capable of a lot more, and it takes a lot more warm up. Initially, you might do a 1 or 2 warm up sets and be ready to go. Paul and I, in some cases, have to do 5 or 6 warm up sets, getting up to our max weight. And the last couple of sets might be 1 or 2 reps, but it's getting the tendons ready, it's getting the blood flow into that area, it's getting your mind on the form. So when you're starting out, 1 or 2 warm-up sets, and then you're good to go. If you're pairing exercises, 1 or 2 warm-up sets of chest, 1 or 2 on your back, and then, anywhere from 2 to 4 sets of each of those. That's a pretty good way to go. So
fantastic. Well, I think we're...
Hold on, I think he dodged the question. I want to know what side you guys were on. Who was pro CrossFit?
No, I'm
Was
not.
pro?
I no.
Well, you said it was a point of contention between
well,
Paul
no,
and
it wasn't really contention.
Here's my thing, guys. I have to look at it from my perspective and what value it has to me. I'm 40. I don't want to be doing an overhead squat. I don't want to be doing power cleans.
Flipping a farm tire.
The farm tire is okay, but some of the inherent movements in CrossFit, I don't want that stress on my wrist. I'm very controlled. I'm very slow. And for me, it would be reckless at 40 to train my body that way.
Especially
so I think CrossFit.
Business
I can't be injured. I mean, I got to be able to get around the floor and move lots of weights in a day.
Right.
So I think it's not for me.
Right.
I wouldn't train that way.
Yeah,
What,
I you said it was a point of contention between you and Paul.
No,
I wanted to know where the contention was. I thought
No.
I don't really think it was
that doesn't
contention.
sound like something Paul would be into. So is this something
Well,
Doug is interested in?
It's great for people that are in their 20s and 30s. It's highly competitive. There is a chance for them to compete. And
it's like
even
mud runs and stuff like that.
Well,
I mean,
see,
that's just,
I
that's not CrossFit.
That's
I mean,
okay.
that's something else.
It
that's
would be for
become,
me.
It's become popular. And I'm sure a
Spartan?
lot of the CrossFit people cross over and do some
Right.
of those things.
Right.
See, my whole thing was I first saw the whole CrossFit thing like 5 years ago on YouTube, like when it was just coming out. And the only reason I was ever interested in it because I started watching videos and they were talking about, well, CrossFit's all about these natural body movements. That was their big whole thing is the movements that we do are just supposed to mimic like natural movements that the human body has done through working our natural evolution. And like they had people on there that they had this woman that she just did like lumberjacking, and they considered that to be CrossFit. You know, she just basically chopped wood, and they're like these natural movements, you know. And I thought that was interesting to get people involved in, like, I guess doing fitness in like things that you wouldn't normally consider to be fitness, like going out and chopping, you know, 4 cords of wood or whatever a day. So,
well, once again, if you can be consistent doing that,
right,
and it's burning enough physical calories and getting the body heated up and working the metabolism, it could work for you. I mean, CrossFit can work for people if they commit to it and do so without injuring themselves. That's the key. That's the hard part. But it can be a great thing if it gets a person off the couch and doing something. And they try to make it fun. I mean, so there are certainly some pros to the whole thing.
Yeah, well, that's the big thing that I was, talking about, because I'm not going to lie, I do, make fun of CrossFit a lot. I hate it.
That's what I wanted. That's what I wanted, Doug.
Well, it's just because
Ryan wants some juice on the show. He wants some juice.
Like when you're trying to work out, you're trying to do something to, again, break down the muscles so that you build the muscle and you become the strongest version of yourself. But like CrossFitters, like a CrossFit pull-up, drives me nuts. You're obviously not isolating the muscle. You're just trying to flail your chin up over the bar so you can get as many of them as you can. And a lot of the things that they do in CrossFit, again, if it's not trained properly, then they do it wrong, which results in injury. And it's kind of become a badge of honor in these CrossFit gyms for people to get injured because they're like, oh, I put in a really hard wad and,
Well, I mean, I think the orthopedic surgeons are very pleased with it.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I mean, that's just the reality of it.
And that's my thing is that I'm all for people, getting fit, but if you're going to do it smart and don't break yourself, because injury is obviously
you can really get caught up in that competitive environment and push yourself beyond when your body said no long ago, and you just ignore it. That can be the case.
Awesome.
So.
Yep.
Well, I think we covered a lot of stuff, and I think I think we're really going to get
notes.
a bunch of people. Yeah, so did I.
Then I was like,
I'm like 30-40% protein. I'm like carbs and
then
like
I was
fats.
like, wait a minute, we're recording.
Yeah,
No,
so we can go back and listen to it.
Brad has his own gym.
That's what I was getting ready to get to. I was going to ask Paul. Paul, in Hartford, you're doing stuff at the Y, right?
I mean, what do you mean by that?
You teach at the Y, right?
I teach martial arts.
You're teaching martial arts at the Y, but you're doing that at the Y so people can come find you there and join your class. When is the class?
Every Tuesday and Thursday from 6:30 to 7:30
at the YMCA in Hartford City, correct?
Yep. Right.
And then Brad, we brought you on because you got your own show or your own studio. So tell us a little bit about the studio, how people can get involved with you, and where they need to go to find your information.
Great. We've been in business for 15 years now.
Wow.
And I think that speaks a lot to the quality and being around, because people aren't going to pay for lack of quality. So I think 15 years. I've been personal training for 19 years. And like I said, training my own body for 27 years. So it's just been an entire lifestyle for me. And we're located on Wheeling. We really have a lot of free weight focus, barbells and dumbbells, body weight exercises. I work with people on their nutrition, so I help them get their hormones balanced and just make it as easy for them as possible. I mean, if you're too restricted on a program, it's going to be very challenging to be able to stick with. So we just focus on small changes. We have a full weight room, like I said, barbells, dumbbells, lots of machines. There's a shower, 2 bathrooms. I mean, it's a pretty good size, but it's only personal training. That's all we do there. Awesome. I like I said, been training for 19 years. I was Mr. Indiana in 2008 in the natural Mr. Indiana. So it was a drug-tested competition, and I was Mr. Indiana in 2009.
Yeah, you should see this guy with his shirt off. It's crazy.
So I mean, I've kind of lived it and helped a lot of people do so themselves. Just getting people to believe in themselves and just working on challenges. We do it's mostly strength training, but there's certainly flexibility basis. We do a lot of stretching because you can't just constrict and tighten. You've got to stretch as well. And then whatever cardiovascular component, that client needs. It might be 10 minutes, it might be 30 minutes. So everything is custom. Pretty much people just have to show up, and we do all the thinking for them. So it's on Studio 22 on North Wheeling, just south of Dillman's Furniture.
Right? Do you guys have a website or a Facebook page?
It's 22strength.com. And you can contact me directly through that website, and that goes directly to my email. If you want me to call you, you want me to text you, email you with questions. I mean, I'm glad to do those things. So you can contact me there, facebook.com/22strength,
right?
And then you can check out. I have Brad Warner. That's my Facebook page as well, and I do put some specials on there from time to time, and those I think Mike's going to get me on the website, and I'll have a special listed.
Yeah,
there.
We'll have all your information listed on our website, so when we post the show, everyone can get to your website, to your Facebook page. So if they want to get a hold of you and get signed up and start working with you, they can get all that information from you.
And don't panic. I mean, I know we covered a lot, but I plan on being back. I mean, this is a lot of fun for me, and being with, this is my hero here.
And you're a block away.
My sensei. It's a lot of fun. So I will be back and be able to share whatever I can. I would like to see you guys be successful. That would be awesome.
Maybe we should bring you back on our final show, our final weigh-in show.
Yeah, and
that'll kick you in gear, won't it? Because then when he comes back and you didn't do anything,
like, what?
You're gonna be.
I can help you along the way. I mean,
still have the same.
And speaking from personal experience, I've been very privileged to be around Brad, and he's a great student of mine and my sensei's, and we have a great time. And I've had the privilege to go over and train at his gym, and it is a great facility, and they have a really, really awesome staff. So if anybody wants to know anything about that, you can find me around town, and I will totally give you directions and get you over there, because it's well worth the money, and these guys really, really know what they're talking about. So
you should start a Facebook group for your karate class, martial arts class.
I visit Paul's once a month. My classes are here in town, but I spar at Paul's once a month out there, so it's probably an hour and a half class,
which is pretty brutal.
We've mixed it up. We've mixed it up a few times, so it's been a lot of fun. It's just been a blast.
Fantastic. Well,
how late in life did you start the karate? Or was that something you've always done?
It's been about 3 years.
It's about 3 years.
Okay,
yeah, it's been about 3. I'm a brown belt right now. And we'll be testing for black belt the very beginning of August. And then I'm actually going to have a small dojo at the back of the gym. There's a pretty good sized room where, I can probably take on 6 or 8 students.
Wow.
Do some kickboxing and do some dojo. Because our sensei, Larry, is retiring. So it's pretty much just going to be Paul and I to help out, teaching some of the things that Larry, would want to have carried on. Mm-hmm. So I'm just thrilled to be a part of it, and looking forward to doing it. It's a big commitment. It's like strength training.
Yeah.
It is a huge commitment.
That's awesome. I was just curious. Because martial arts is something that always sounds very cool. And maybe, hey, if I'm setting up my goals, I'm setting my wish list, I'd like to have a body that could become a living weapon.
You're about Steven Seagal's height, right?
Maybe. I don't know. Hey,
and you're an Indian too, right?
Hey, don't crap on my dreams, gentlemen.
I don't want you going up and taking out an oil well and throwing some dude, throwing Michael Caine
you
off
can
the
find
oil
us
platform.
At www.facebook.buffalobrother.
Facebook.com/Buffalo Brotherhood and
at buffalobrotherhood.com.
buffalobrotherhood.com
and Twitter at
the Buffalo, I don't know.
BOBcast
Nation. You can follow me at Buffalo Cast, though. That's better. You just follow
Myself
me
at Fu Man
Cast.
2.
Yeah, and then give us a like. Guys, there's so much going on here with this weight loss thing. There's so much going on this podcast. Just stop me now, rewind it, listen to it again. And then when you've done that, now you're hearing this information for the first time, if you followed the first instructions. Share this on your page, on your Facebook. Tell your friends. Let them listen to it. Get them involved. It's not too late. You know what? If you didn't send in your first weight right away, you're picturing your first weight, and you're sitting there listening to this podcast now, and you're like, you know what? What is it you were saying, Paul? What you were saying was like poetic there. What is it, the strongest version of yourself? Is that what it is?
That's pretty cool.
Is it?
Well, I'm not gonna say that I coined that phrase.
Okay.
Actually, Elliot Hulse, a strength trainer that does a lot of stuff online, he coined that phrase. So I won't steal it, but I really do believe in that.
I think you just need to change like 2 syllables in there somewhere, and then make a T-shirt with your face on it. Because I mean, hearing that, if you were listening to that and that's something that was interested you, or you were listening to Brad talking, you heard that knowledge just coming in your ear holes. I mean, that was amazing. The stuff that he's talking about. I was sitting here, my brain was hurting. I was like, oh my gosh, I have no idea. I need to get more like glyceride things out of my brain or something so that I can understand what's going on.
And that's why we need him. That's why you got to go to him to get it all figured out, and we can get it. We can be the best we can. You know,
the
what was
most powerful version of yourself.
Most powerful version of yourself.
The
strongest version of yourself.
I don't know.
I like powerful.
And we can all be better.
Yeah.
Whether it be mentally, physically, spiritually. I mean, focus on improvement.
Really,
bettering yourself.
my goal is to be so strong that my hair erupts blonde and fire just shoots out of my body.
Oh my God! Yes.
And I can punch through a planet.
Train
Okay.
in sand.
He's gonna be a Super
at
Saiyan.
10,000 times gravity.
Over 9,000.
Over 9,000.
Awesome. Again, Facebook.com/Buffalo Brotherhood and BuffaloBrotherhood.com is where you can find us. Guys, get out there. Lose some weight. Let's see who can win. I'm so excited to see who's going to win this. It's going to be awesome.
Like progress reports? I want to see
We
progress
can get
reports.
progress reports. If you want to post your stuff on the Facebook page, you can do that. That would be fantastic. We're not requiring,
Shirts
as you
on,
found,
guys.
as you found
Shirts
out,
on.
as you found out in the rules, we're not requiring you to post your weight to the Facebook page. We're going to keep that private, of course,
Yeah.
like we stated
Be
last
respectful.
week. So, you know, if you'll give that information to
But
us,
if
we'll
you want
keep
to
it
just be
private.
like, hey, I lost 7 pounds these 2
do
weeks.
it.
Send
Let
it.
us know.
Then I'll know. And maybe Doug will do it, and then I'll know if
I'm going to post.
how far along I am.
I talked about my beginning weight last week because I'm
you're
going to talk about it
Well,
last
I
week.
probably gained 10 pounds in California, so.
So
You look
awesome.
heavier. You look heavier on the airplane.
Well,
all right, guys. It's been a great show. It's been a great show. Had fun.
Yeah.
Great show.
You know how long
Good,
the beard
all
second
right.
is?
And we're starting over.
We're starting
We're
over.
starting over.
Right on.
Awesome. Well, we'll see you guys next week. Keep it up.
Can I just say this as the music fades out?
Go.
With Paul's facial hair, he looks exactly like Joel from Parenthood. I don't know if anybody noticed this. Nobody watches Joel? No, all right. See you guys. Have a good night.
Bye.
Thank you.